how Jurrien Timber will fit in at Arsenal. Today we're going to be looking at Mikel Arteta's side tactically. We're going to look at formations and the positions that Jurrien Timber could play for the Gunners. Timber, of course, is a centre-back by trade, one of the best ball-playing centre-backs on the planet. For me, he is the next evolution of where centre-backs are going to go. You're going to have a dynamic, a faster ball-playing centre-back that's going to be partnered with a bigger, stronger forward that's going to deal with the aerial balls. Think Lisandro Martinez at Manchester United. When Martinez joined the Premier League, there was a lot of criticism with his height. We all found out that that was a load of rubbish. In fact, Jurrien Timber is slightly taller than Lisandro Martinez, and he's got a decent ability in the air, maybe not great. I think in terms of what he would bring Arsenal, though, it's the ability out of the back. He's absolutely fantastic, and not only playing passes, controlling the tempo, but also carrying through pressure when the time is right. When you're looking at where he's come in terms of his development, especially under Erik ten Hag, became one of the best young ball-playing centre-backs on the planet. I think with Arsenal as well, his ability to not only play centre-back, but also play as a right-back and maybe as a defensive midfielder gives Arsenal a lot of defensive coverage. One of the big things with Mikel Arteta's side is he doesn't like his centre-backs to carry out with the ball. He says the possession is broken if the centre-back has to carry. One of Timber's biggest strengths is carrying out of pressure. So maybe moving him to this right-back position, similar to how we see Ben White carry the ball out, could be a really, really good use of his skill set. Not only has he got the ability to do that on the ball and find the passes, and link the play. He's got, an awareness to move. If he's played the pass, he's not going to be stationary. He's got the classic Cruyffian element to him, that he's going to spot the space, receive in the space and move forward. He's scored some really interesting goals over the last few seasons where he's actually started the play at the back, played it through and then finished off the move at the end of it. Of course, I do like Ben White. I think Ben White will still be the starting option, but I think having someone like Timber, especially at the start of the season with William Saliba's injury problems of late, could be a real weapon for Arsenal. And when you're looking at some of his best performances, it did come under Erik ten Hag, but I think similar to Mikel Arteta, both fantastic coaches, but his ability to really win the ball back and squeeze the opponent was absolutely fantastic. You're looking at 1.7 interceptions per game and 2.4 tackles. They are very, very effective numbers. And in fact, if you compare that 134 tackles plus interceptions his last season under Erik ten Hag, that would rank him second amongst Premier League centre-backs. Considering that this Ajax team averaged around 63% possession, it's very, very impressive. Big skill set is winning the ball back, getting his team back into the attacking side of the game. We're looking at his passing and the ability to control the tempo. Versus Arsenal, let's say from this season, Timber in the Arsenal squad would rank top for touches, passes completed, passes into the final third per 90, and he'd be second amongst defenders for progressive passes. Also would have more progressive carries than Ben White. And I really like that idea that he would come in and provide stability in a number of different roles. As you mentioned from the start, potentially deputising from William Saliba, allowing Saliba to fully recover from the back injury. I think one of the big things with Saliba, Arsenal are very worried about the injury. They're not exactly sure what caused it and what the problems are, and it might take a little bit longer in terms of the rehab or could reoccur. So signing someone of the quality of Jurrien Timber is massive. I do like Kivor. I think he's a good quality footballer, but he isn't at the same level as Timber. Timber could easily slot in to the Arsenal starting 11 and the formation wouldn't change, the tactics wouldn't change, they'd be absolutely the same. As we mentioned previously, the final third I think is where I really like Jurrien Timber. In terms of Arsenal and Ajax, of course, they do throw a lot of bodies forward. They dominate the opposition in the final third, which leads to quite a bit of space to cover on the counter-attack. But what I like about his ability, as we mentioned previously, is as the opponent has won the ball back, he's got a great knack of instantly putting pressure on, instantly going man for man. He's a player that commits himself in duels and wins them usually, or alternatively will, sit off a little bit and then read the play and step in and intercept the ball, then instantly break the lines and get Arsenal into that final third. He did it frequently for Ajax, which leaves you in these kind of high transitional moments when the opposition feel they've won the ball, they're going to push some bodies forward, you've instantly won it back. You're into the final third, you're into Odegaard, you're feeding Saka, and you're slotting the ball to Kai Havertz and the left-hand side of the box. Of course, if you've not checked out our video on how Kai Havertz will fit into Arsenal, go and check that out. We do a lot of insight and analysis into where he scored his goals and why he will be super dominant as a left-sided central midfielder in Arteta's 4-3-3. But Timber will provide that quality, that ability to win the ball back. As you mentioned as well, I think he's got enough about him to really operate in the final third. You know, when William Saliba's back and Ben White can be rotated if he's not fit or, you know, has played a few games in a week with the Champions League coming back to the Emirates, Timber is good enough to really operate on that right-hand side and complete the triangle between Odegaard, between Saka, and himself. You know, we saw a lot of rotation and development with Ben White's attacking game through the season. And I think with Arteta's coaching and the ability of Arsenal to really make things happen in the final third, you know, someone like Timber's just going to massively improve the depth of the squad. And that was the big thing with Arsenal. Their starting 11 last season was sensational. The only reason why for me they didn't win the Premier League was because City had a deeper squad. That was it. That was the tiny moments. And you're looking at the signings: Havertz, Rice, Timber. These are players that have got good tanks in them, that don't miss many games of football, but also can come in and provide a similar high standard. And we're looking at some of the statistics for touches in the final third. Timber ranked in the top 5% of centre-backs in the Eredivisie last season for touches in the final third. He's comfortable there, but also in the top 5% in terms of tackles and winning the ball back, as we mentioned, either playing in that centre-back position and instantly putting the squeeze on, or in the final third as that right-back, you know, instantly coming in and looking to win the ball back. He's aggressive, and that does fit Arsenal and Mikel Arteta's style of play. And that's a level where you've not got a problem. You know, you can rotate the team, you can rest players at certain games, and you can also potentially play Timber at defensive midfield. Would be an interesting one. Again, games where maybe Arsenal want to be a little bit more defensively solid. You know, bringing in, let's say, Ben White into the right-back position, pushing Declan Rice into the 8 role, which I fully believe he can do. I think he's one of the most complete midfielders in the Premier League, can play 6, 8, 10, probably could play other positions as well. He's just got the quality. But having Timber as that centre-half, allowing him to kind of, you know, drop in at times and create a back three if need be, or step into that central area, knowing that he can not only distribute the ball from that position, link with his teammates, especially Zinchenko in that inside position, but also make the right decision at the right time and retain possession. I quite like the idea of him playing in that role. Again, it would leave Gabriell and Saliba being aggressive from an aerial duel perspective to win the ball back. Having Declan Rice playing higher up, you know, we saw his ability to get shots away. Back end of the season, Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, scoring from outside the box, giving Timber that ability to kind of be in there, be the aggressive guy to win it and then play through and then, you know, look to get Arsenal into the final third. I think finally as well, you know, one of the big criticisms of short defenders, especially in the Premier League, is their lack of ability in aerial duels. You know, one of the solutions for Manchester United with Casemiro, but also with Ajax with Edison Alvarez, when protecting those kind of smaller defensive midfielders, having a good stopper as a DM. And Arsenal have got a really, really good stopper in there in Declan Rice, which would allow, again, the resting of William Saliba, even throwing in someone like an Emil Smith-Rowe into that inside left position. But any long ball that's played up, it's either the left-hand side of Gabriell dealing with it and being aggressive, or alternatively both centre-backs dropping off a little bit, and then Declan Rice going to win the ball. You know, Ben White dropping in, creating a 3-1 structure, absolutely fine in a transitional nature, but very much Declan Rice sitting in front of the centre-halves or even sitting in between them. We see City do this with Rodri at times when they're facing goal kicks. He'll drop between the centre-backs to maybe win that first ball, then he'll move into midfield after to go and win the second ball. It's something that Arsenal could do with Declan Rice, which completely protects, you know, maybe one of his weaknesses. And I wouldn't say it's a big weakness. You know, we're not talking terrible rates, but we're talking, you know, he's not a Virgil van Dijk dominance in the air, which is obvious. But there's still a little bit of room for improvement. We take a look at the last season under Erik ten Hag, you know, with that screen in Edson Alvarez. He actually won 61% of his aerial duels that season when that screen was in place. So it's something that I don't think is a massive problem, but I think the quality on the ball is what you get. It's absolutely outstanding. It's the ability to really play make from the back, to dictate the play, to get on the ball, to have loads of touches. You know, in this game against Canberra, he had over 153 touches of the football, 116 passes completed at a 97% accuracy. That is the real quality you're going to get. And see how deep that heat map is in the final third. Look at the arrow. The arrow's going from left to right. That is him in the final third, getting on the ball, winning the ball back in those areas, and that's exactly what he could do for Arsenal. I think a great signing. Arsenal's business has been brilliant. Havertz coming in, Rice coming in, and Timber. There's 3 problem areas. We're looking at a utility defender. We're looking at a solid defensive midfielder, number 6, and we're looking for a player that can play multiple positions in the attacking line and in midfield in Kai Havertz. Well, Arsenal are turning themselves into a title-challenging side. Guys, get into the comments below. How do you think Timber will do at Arsenal? Will he be a success? Will he come in for William Saliba at the start of the season? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Statman Dave. Subscribe if you're new. We'll see you later.